I married a dead man and I didn't know. I've carried this story alone for years. Not my parents, not my siblings, nobody knows. I have only told my best friend, and ever since I told her, she has struggled to sleep at night. I swear on my life, this is not fiction. Not like those horror films or juju stories we read online. Mine was different, real, very calm, and that is what still scares me. It started in 2019. I had just relocated to Enugu from Ibadan after getting a teaching job at a private secondary school. I was 27 years old. I wasn't looking for love or marriage. I was tired. My life in Ibadan had been stressful, and I just wanted peace. I wanted to breathe again. That was where I met Daniel. We met at a small restaurant close to the school. He was different from most men I knew. He wasn't flashy or proud. He didn't talk too much. He listened more than he spoke. He dressed neatly and always smelled clean. One thing I noticed early was his clothes. He mostly wore grey and cream, almost every time. I once joked and asked if those were his lucky colors. He smiled and said they helped him stay calm. We dated for almost a year. There was no drama. No ex calling. No strange habits. He liked quiet evenings, soft gospel music, and long moments of silence. Sometimes, he would sit alone in the living room with the lights off. I thought he was praying or thinking. He told me he liked darkness because it helped him feel settled. I never met his family. He said his parents were dead and that he had no siblings. According to him, he moved to Enugu from Benue State after losing them and didn't like talking about the past. I understood. Pain makes people private. We got married in early 2021. There was no party. No crowd. Just a registry wedding and a small church prayer. He said there was no one to invite and that he didn't want unnecessary attention. I agreed. By the end of that year, I was pregnant. That was when things slowly began to change. One night, I woke up with the feeling that someone was watching me. I opened my eyes and saw Daniel standing beside the bed, looking down at me. The room was dark, but I could clearly see his shape. I screamed. He apologized calmly and said I had been breathing strangely in my sleep, so he wanted to be sure I was okay. I blamed it on pregnancy hormones and tried to forget about it. Then strange things started happening in the kitchen. Cooked food spoiled within hours. Meat in the freezer developed a sour smell overnight. Milk went bad even before its expiry date. But dry food, rice, beans, gari, remained perfectly fine. We changed appliances. We called repairmen. Everything was fine. Our son was born in March 2022. He was healthy, but there was a problem. Anytime Daniel carried him, the baby screamed uncontrollably, not normal crying, but panic. The moment I took him back, he calmed down immediately. We tried everything. Nothing worked unless Daniel stayed away. Then the picture started. I took a photo of the three of us at home. When I checked later, only my baby and I were there. I laughed nervously and blamed my phone. But it happened again. And again. Even videos. Sometimes his voice could be heard, but his image never appeared. When I asked him about it, he smiled and said maybe technology didn't like him. He said it like a joke, but my stomach tightened with fear. One night, after he fell asleep, I searched the house. There were no documents. No certificates. No old photos. No wallet with cards. Just a Bible, 2 pairs of slippers, a wristwatch that never worked, and clothes, only grey and cream. A few days later, while cleaning, I found something hidden behind a drawer panel. An old newspaper. It was yellow and fragile. His face stared back at me. The headline read, 24-year-old man dies in fatal car crash in Makurdi, only son of the family. The date was 2015. My ears rang. I ran to my landlord, an elderly man who had lived there for decades. He looked at the paper and nodded slowly. Yes, I remember this, he said. Very sad case. That boy was the last one left in his family. I told him the man in the paper was my husband. He looked at me like I was mad and said, "My daughter, the dead don't marry." I didn't sleep that night. After that, I started noticing things clearly. Daniel never cast a shadow in bright light. He never sweated, no matter how hot it was. Cats hissed when he passed. Birds scattered. I decided to leave. But before I could, he confronted me. One night, I woke up and he wasn't in bed. I found him sitting on the floor, his back straight, eyes open, staring at the wall. I called his name softly. He replied, "You saw it, didn't you?" My body went cold. He stood up and said he never planned to stay that long. He said loneliness brought him to me. That love made him forget he wasn't meant to remain. He touched my face and said, "I never meant to hurt you." He kissed my forehead, looked at our child sleeping, and whispered, "He will be fine." Then he walked out. I followed him. Outside, the compound was empty. No sound. No footsteps. Nothing. When I went back inside, his things were gone. Even his clothes. Even the Bible. It was as if he had never existed. Except for my child. My son is 4 years old now. He refuses to sleep in complete darkness. Sometimes he waves at corners where no one is standing. Once, he laughed and said, "Daddy is cold." I moved cities. I changed jobs. I don't talk about this anymore. But every year, on the exact date from that newspaper, the day Daniel died, my son falls sick. Always a fever. Doctors say it's normal. But I know it's not. I just hope he is truly gone. Please share this story. Someone out there may not know what they are living with. Not everything that loves you is alive.